This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.
Okay, Half Moon Run is a Canadian band who've already won Juno Awards, which is basically the Canadian Grammys. Their new and beautiful album is Salt. See them live at Music Hall of Williamsburg, November 17th. All the info, halfmoon.run. Devon, how do you pronounce your last name?
Think of the J as a Y. Portielje.
Portielje. Devon Portielje from the band joins us. That's an interesting website, too. Halfmoon.run.
You
just lucked out?
We lucked out big time. I just discovered that a couple weeks ago. I thought there's a .run domain name. I'm taking it.
Okay, it could be com, it could be us, could be Canada, CA.
Yeah.
Because you guys are from Canada. Tell me about life in Montreal. When you first met up, I believe in a Craigslist ad started the ball rolling. Connor and Dylan, who are not with us in the studio right at this moment, the other guys in the band, we're looking for a bass player, which you are not.
No, but the influences and the tone of the message, myself being a Craigslist veteran, I knew that there was a connection.
Craigslist can be scary at times, yes.
It's not what it once was.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right, so that's good. All right, so you put the ad on Craigslist, and as soon as you met, did you know right away that you had sort of like the same chemistry musically with the other guys?
Oh my God, there was 5 people total in those days, and the first jam we were doing 5-part harmony, and it just clicked.
Wow.
It was the funnest thing I could imagine doing, and gratifying and artistically, satisfying. It was fantastic.
When you were doing the harmonies, were you like saying, "Let's try this song"? Was it like Crosby, Stills, and Nash? Was it things like that you kind of like worked on, or did you know the songs already that they wanted you to perform on? Like, what songs did you perform the 5-part harmony on?
It was brand new originals that day.
Really?
And we wouldn't sing words. We'd just go like, oh, and then oh,
oohs and ahs, yeah.
And then, whoa, let's like sing a big chord, and oh my gosh, it was good.
Wow. He is from Toronto, but I've recently gone down a huge Gordon Lightfoot rabbit hole. Tell me about growing up in Canada, what Gordon Lightfoot meant to you musically, and maybe even your parents, obviously, but talk about him for a second.
Absolute legend. In fact, his songs, I'm not familiar with them intimately, but they kind of resonate throughout the culture. You know them when it goes on. You know that song. It's the impact of the folk singers in Canada is huge, and it's still today. My dad still performs in his 80s.
God bless him.
And so he taught me a lot of the folk ways of Canada.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, If You Could Read My Mind and Sundown, and these songs are just unbelievable. This new album, I read that some of these songs had never really been quite born yet.
Mm-hmm.
There have been bits and pieces. There have been riffs here and there that have been remembered over the years, including during the pandemic, and something called cassettes and a 2-track Tascam are somehow involved. When I hear cassettes, I'm like, really? Okay, well, tell us about that.
We would record all our early performances on this little cassette tape recorder so that we could play it back easily. We didn't want to get involved with all the digital riff-raff. It was too much, interruption. We just record, play.
It's simple. It's easy,
Yeah.
right?
And it's kind of charming. The limitations of a tape cassette provide some nuance, some nice nuance. And so every night we'd jam together, and then we'd listen back walking home, too broke to take the bus, and listen back and get inspired. It's funny looking back. I was so cheap that I record on the slowest pace possible to save on
Oh, I know
cassettes.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
More memory, more time.
Yeah,
right.
But worse quality.
Yeah, totally.
So I've been trying to digitize those recently, and I'm just like, God, if I had just spent that extra $5.
There's a song on the new album called "Everyone's Moving Out East." Now, when you say that here in New York City, that means Long Island. What does it mean when you say it in Montreal or wherever you live now?
It would be the Maritimes. We live in Montreal, and so that would be Nova Scotia, PEI, Newfoundland. The housing prices out there, because it's pretty remote, really cheap. A lot of people moved out there. But also East, in that sense, can be, that's the first layer of the song. Everyone's moving out East. But East can be kind of anywhere. They're moving away.
Yeah.
And, you wish you could go with them, and maybe you can't.
The title of the new album is Salt. How did you come up with that title?
Well, It was actually the producer's girlfriend who suggested it.
Really?
And that's also one of the songs on the album is called Salt as well. But there was kind of a reduction element in salt. You know, if you boil down seawater, you get salt eventually.
Right, yeah.
And we started with, from all those Tascam demos you mentioned and cassette demos, like 50 to 80 demos that were up for contention for this album. And we boiled it down to 11 songs.
Literally, yeah. You have played around the world in all kinds of places and with some pretty amazing bands. Is there one place or tour in particular that you will always remember? A venue or?
There's playing in Trondheim, Norway, like closer to the Arctic Circle. That was pretty surreal. You know, it's 3:30 in the morning and it's still sunny out, and people are in bars. It was bizarre. But I think the Mumford & Sons tour might take the cake, playing in stadiums every night in Europe. And they would invite us on for the encore to do "The Weight" by the band.
Oh,
and I got to sing a verse every night.
So much fun.
Big memories.
And that's good. Now you're going to Europe this summer, I believe too, right? And then you're coming back for North America, or
we're doing a big fall tour in Europe, and then we're coming back from North America. But actually, if I may go back to another memory just down the road here, Radio City, when we were opening for Metric there, they had Lou Reed come on stage, and we sang backup on Pale Blue Eyes with Lou Reed. Just shortly before he passed away.
I had Metric in the studio last year sometime. They told me about that night. Yeah. Well, I didn't know you guys were there. Oh, that's fantastic. That is a great memory. Yeah. Every song on this album is so beautiful and really well produced. It really shows how hard you guys worked on this to get it just right. Tell me about the song Alco. I think a ukulele and a trip to Thailand somehow inspired this song.
Like many young people, I didn't want to bring a full-size guitar, so I brought a ukulele on a trip, and and I went to a place that had like very little going on, no party, just kind of in the jungle, and I wanted some stimulus, so I just played ukulele all day, and I came back with this riff to the guys, and we chipped away at it for like 10 years, and it finally realized into something.
Yeah, is a ukulele hard to play? Is it tuned the way the first four strings on a guitar are, or
That's
no?
right. That is, that's right. If there was a capo at the fifth fret, I believe.
And do you play the ukulele in concert as well for this song?
I do. Yes, I do.
It's a cooler ukulele than one you had in Thailand, or no?
It's more reliable. That one got cooked by the sun a bit.
It's a road warrior.
Yeah, it's more of a road warrior. Yeah.
And where did you shoot the video for this song? I see beaches and waves and running on beaches. Then there's performance parts. So where did you guys shoot that?
We shot that actually in the western United States, Oregon, Washington State.
Oh.
I mean, going out there in the middle of winter was like summery for us, It wasn't quite freezing, but it wasn't, minus 30 back home. And so we were the only ones on the beach all the time, pretty much. And it was really nice. And we decided to just take a trip down there and film a music video and take a bunch of photos. And
came out great. So beautiful, wonderful. Those beaches. Wow.
Oh, I can't recommend it highly enough.
Yeah. The band is Half Moon Run, and we are in the studio with Devon from the band, and their new album is Salt. Everyone should go out and buy it, and definitely check out the video for Alco. It's really, really beautiful. And the band will be at the Music Hall of Williamsburg November 17th. You get all the info, halfmoon.run. Devon, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan.
This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q104.3.